All right, John. Breakout candidate on the podcast number 4. We'll go non-quarterback on this one. DK Metcalf. Chance to be scary good. Freak show paid off last year.
I would say that when you say that picture, put him on the map. The picture of him
put him on the map, and then Pete Carroll going shirtless with him helped.
Ran a 4.3 at the combine.
Yeah, for me, I would love for him to stop going by DK and just start going by DeKalin Zacharias Metcalf. But it's harder to say, but it's a pretty sweet name.
That he's got a sweet name. You
DK,
want to say,
by the way, is the D and the K from his first name. It's not his middle name. That's a Z.
He had 58 catches last year.
Calling him DKZ.
58 catches, 900 yards, 7 touchdowns. And remember, he had the big playoff game against the Eagles. How many career catches do you think he had at Ole Miss?
Oh, this is a good question.
3 years. He was there.
I remember being very low. I don't remember exactly what the number was. So I'm going to say, doesn't play here. Blah, blah, blah.
Been a little banged up.
I'm going to say 41 catches in his career.
Yeah, a little low. I mean, 67.
Okay.
But, for a guy that's, how
many his third
catches
year?
As a rookie.
How many his third year? His
last
was
down. Year? I think he had 39 and then 28. He basically had just a couple his freshman year. 39 was kind of a big sophomore year, and then 28. So you're talking about a little George Kittle vibes here. Now, this guy was way more famous coming into the draft, obviously second-round pick, and like we said, the shirt. But remember George Kittle by year 2 was like, yeah, this guy's a star. And there was a little buzz for him after his rookie year. And like George, physical freak, perfect offense, perfect coach. George a little less quarterback dependent. Like you put George to anyone, he'd probably be good. DK is kind of quarterback dependent. Like if you put DK with Drew Brees or an Alex Smith, type, he wouldn't work, or Lamar Jackson. He is with the best deep ball thrower in the league, right? It's perfect. He runs go routes and posts, and they throw deep to him. Sometimes you just thank your lucky stars as a player when you get drafted to the team, because it doesn't always happen, that uses their strengths of what they do are just perfect for you.
I'll take it even a step further, John. DK last year led the NFL in red zone targets. And wouldn't you say not only does Russell – think about that, red zone targets. So that's part of the reason I think his percentage of catches, even though he didn't have a top 10 season, but he had a ton of touchdowns relative to his number of catches. And then wouldn't you say if you were to just flip on a Thursday or a Sunday or a Monday, doesn't it feel – I don't have this stat. It feels like Russell probably takes as many end zone shots as anybody in the league. Now, like you said, a lot of that's deep shots. But I'm just looking in terms of rushing touchdowns last year. They had
why would he be – think about why he would be such a good red zone target. He's huge, right? Usually red zone targets aren't Deshaun Jackson. Like they are Julio Jones, Rob Gronkowski, Tony Gonzalez. They're just DeAndre Hopkins or Devontae, guys that high point the ball. That's why Crabtree, remember, you could just throw it up in theory. Kaepernick couldn't, but Derek, they ran fades all the time. Guys that go up and get the ball. When I think DK Metcalf, I think a guy that shoots his hands up. And he's already 6'3", 6'4". To me, he's unreal in the red zone because you just kind of use your big body, right? It becomes like going for a rebound. I think it's not inconceivable that he has 90 catches this year. Now, I'm not trying to make too much of this, but I don't have a choice because we don't get preseason games. Seattle tweets a lot of videos of just the connection between the two. That's one thing they've clearly, and rightfully so, have just tried to commercialize. This is coming, and it already had become a thing because they actually did it. But I think they're trying to hype that up as this is Russell's second half of his career. This is going to be his guy.
Yeah. Well, to me, it is. There are other great quarterbacks. If he had been on the Chiefs, that would have been phenomenal. If you're DK Metcalf, you would not change if they said, DK, we'll send you to the Chiefs. You want to do a switcheroo? He'd be like, no, I'm good. Leave me with Russ. They're like, are you sure? Pat's the future. He'd be like, nope, good where I am. I don't really even have to share with anybody. That's the beauty of it.
Exactly.
They've been waiting for me for 5 years here. More.
They would have died to have me back with LOB, right?
Yeah, with Doug Baldwin.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because Tyler Lockett, who's a good little player, is just little. It's just a different This guy's just a different animal.
Well, I mean,
Does he have a chance? I'll give you one. And this is
you calling him an all-pro?
A little hyperbole and a little bold, and this guy was more fluid. But remember, it was clear pretty early once he kind of hit the scene, like Terrell Owens was just a different physical animal.
Yeah.
Right? Just physically, he was a freak. Is there something DK, again, Terrell.
Well, but also remember, like, DK was like, can DK catch?
Yeah.
And remember, that was the early knock on T.O. That's why T.O. started crying when Steve Young hit him over the middle on the goal line, because it was like he had dropped a couple big passes, and at least one big pass in that game, right? And that was kind of the knock on him.
I think this guy has pretty good hands from what I've seen and great ball skills. I think this guy's going to be a star.
I mean, so if you're saying 90-plus catches last year in the NFL, Tyler Boyd, Darren Waller, Robert Woods, Austin Eckler, Cooper Kupp, Kelsey, Allen Robinson, Julio, Julian Edelman, Keenan Allen, Hopkins, McCaffrey, Thomas. Those were all the guys with 90-plus. Now, Michael Thomas would be like, I had 149, so you can go ahead and put me in a different category. But
we will.
That's your group. Yeah, we will. But that's the group.
You remember when we were young, I was always in like the late 90s playing Madden, and I was always the Lions because obviously Barry Sanders, but Herman Moore used to be like, I just remember like 110, 120 catches a season. I'm like, this is insane. This guy catches 120 balls. That guy was way ahead of the curve. You do inflation, 120, like 97. What's that in 2020?
195? Yeah, 190. Absolutely.
Ahead of his time.
God, I love watching DK.
I think DK